first place to start is tell the people what you guys do.
Yep. We launched Nestworth. We piggyback off of this initiative we got introduced to a couple of years ago that helped small businesses find credits during COVID relief. We did very well at that to the point where we said, "Hey, what other credits are out there available that businesses just aren't cognizant of?" Uh, we got introduced to a few of them. One was the Secure 2.0 Act, which was a credit that small businesses had access to. If you look at the numbers, 70% of small businesses don't offer retirement plans to their employees. 50% of Americans don't have a retirement plan.
Mm.
With Secure 2.0 Act, Secure being setting every community up for retirement enhancement. It went out to small businesses and said, "Hey, you can start a qualified retirement plan for your employees. You can make contributions, and you get dollar for dollar credit for that." So it puts business owners in a position where not only can they get 100% credit back, for instance, they can have at the end of the year, they can put $20,000 in credits into contributions. They get all of that back. In addition to that, they lower their taxable income and pay less taxes. But ultimately, business owners get put in a position where they can decide whether or not they want to write a check to Uncle Sam or give it to their employees. And most employers want to give it to their employees instead of writing it to Uncle Sam. That's one of them. Then we stumbled upon an AI driven proprietary software that we successfully licensed. We're the only company to license it. That another thing that businesses don't own or know of is there's 7,000 credits available to small businesses out there. It's impossible for any owner or any accountant to know of all 7,000 of them. And if they apply to them or how to qualify for them. So with our software, we're able to take a company and do this initial feasibility test to determine whether or not there's credits out there that they qualify for. And if they qualify for them, we get them qualified, do all the legwork, and take a percentage. So we put business owners in position to take advantage of credits that they wouldn't know that exist and then qualify for them. And
Well,
we only get
yeah,
paid
that's cool. I don't think that's since the last time we spoke, that one was new, the 7,000
well,
credits.
we're
Awesome.
launching that with you guys like this week. Uh,
Nice.
so yeah, it's one that, and it's pretty exciting. Actually, you guys probably qualify for a significant amount of money just based
I'll have
on the
to check
information.
it out.
Yeah.
7,000 sounds
Yeah.
like a lot. I mean, at least one or two, right? We could qualify for probably more.
The one that you'd probably qualify for is research and development. That's a big number too. I think a lot of companies think of research and development and they think of lab coats and Bunsen burners, but the IRS defines it as any company that's engaging in activities to develop something or improve something. That something can
Mhm.
be software, that something can be
So it's real
uh,
open-ended.
yeah, it's pretty open-ended, and it's been around since 2001. It's not going anywhere soon. So software
Okay.
companies are a given. Manufacturing companies are mostly given. Product companies are mostly given for that one.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that I'm following that campaign closely,
Cool.
obviously, as it launches. That's cool. So Nestworth, that started February, beginning of this year, 2024, right? This is a branch of, I mean, historically, what is your company? Is it like financial services or financial planner? Like, how would you categorize it?
Services. Yeah, I would
Okay.
say financial services. I mean, we're new, and like most new companies, we start somewhere, and there's a lot of pivoting along the way. I
Mhm.
always think I feel like a Hakeem Olajuwon in a post with as many like pivots, but it's financial services. We like helping small and medium-sized businesses discover things that they normally wouldn't, and putting them in a position where it's a no-brainer for them. Nothing we do charge, we don't necessarily charge for anything that we do. It's hey, we're going to discover these credits for you, and we're going to get paid a small percentage of whatever the credit is. So,
Oh,
would you
nice.
pay me 20 cents to give you 75 cents kind of thing?
Makes it an easy sale for sure.
Makes
Yeah.
it a position and applies to a lot of companies, which is why we got into
Yeah.
the industry.
So you guys took advantage of this new initiative, I guess, from the government to save on taxes, and that launched January, and then you started Nestworth February. I think you came to us in April. We
Yep.
had ads launched by May, and I guess real quickly, just overview like how has that been? Like, what's the overall like results or
I mean, I've been in sales for 20 years and I'm kind of used to marketing agencies over promising on what to expect, how fast to
you
see it.
mean yeah.
Uh, I will say that I was pleasantly surprised on how fast it happened. For us, I mean, we started seeing 5, 6 leads a day every day. And I don't think it's slowed down since. And we're spending minimal on advertising spend. Like, we want to go really big on that at some point soon. So yeah, it's been fun. We've, like anything, you have better leads than not. I will never call a lead a bad lead. There's some that are better than others, but for the most part, if you look at this versus everything else we're doing, not only is it faster and more, but the ROI is significantly higher.
What else are you doing? Or have you tried?
We do email marketing. We do a lot of affiliate stuff like channels. We're working with accountants and CPAs and payroll companies and stuff like that, which,
You mean like
it's
outbound cold email?
outbound cold email. We do a lot of that. I mean, again, I've been doing this for 20 years and email was always one of those things that you can draw the straightest line to revenue. It wasn't branding. It wasn't
Mhm.
all of the marketing spiel you get from a lot. There's this number of leads. Here's how many we're closing. Here's how much it costs. And you can figure out, what your true cost of marketing is. And then you guys came in very similar to that, where it's not branding and search engine and all of that other stuff that a lot of people sell as
Kind
part
of
of
an
their.
indirect ROI, but in what you're
Yeah,
saying is in this one
exactly.
you can directly see. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then so since April, or excuse me, since May, since we started, you were saying obviously, there's you have a longer sales cycle, and then right before we started recording here, you were talking about the increasing your sales pipeline. Can you touch on that for a second?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing five. Let's see, we have about 4 other channels of leads that we're getting through all the stuff that we just mentioned. We're getting anywhere from 5 to 7 leads from you per day with minimal spend, and that's probably the same amount collectively that we're getting from everybody else. Uh,
Collect. Okay.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so you're performing as well as our other 4 combined in
Mhm.
terms of leads. Uh, we're not spending a lot on you, which is the crazy part. Like, I'd argue you should be charging more, just not to me. Uh, because our ROI, I mean, it takes one deal makes what we're investing in you make it sense. We make our money back
Per
over the
month, you
course of
mean?
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So, and if you give me 5 or 6 a day with the minimal that we're spending, it's not very hard to close one deal to make this make sense. Everything else is good for us. So,
Yeah.
no, yeah, we're seeing 5 or 6 a day, and I think right now we're spending on advertising $800 a month, and so it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking over your stats right now, last 30 days. Looking at your KPI, like when we started. So for everybody listening, what we do is we kind of get set benchmarks and KPIs based off your, operating cost, revenue per sale, sales commissions. We kind of include all of that. So for you, like your cost per lead, like the metric for the numbers to make sense when you were to to close and everything, $88 per lead, $375 per appointment. But then when we go and look at the dashboard for the last 30 days, just take the last 30 days. Um, Cost per lead is $35. And so that KPI was 88. So that's good. And then cost per appointment is 241.75. So $241.75. And then the cost per metric was 375. And that's great. I think you're all the way through all the phase, all the four phases. And so for anybody listening, it's not anything crazy. What we're doing is just paid ads. It's just you got to do it right, right? You have the right strategy, the right marketing message to the right person, then qualify that person, and then have the processes and the systems actually get them to show up to the appointment. And then for
Sure.
you, it's just, you just need more at bats, right? Because you have a good offer. I'm sure your sales team's good. And
Those are the
so,
KPIs on the retirement stuff that we're doing, the stuff that we're launching with you now. I mean, those are just much higher uh wins for us. They're more
mm,
immediate and much higher. So I'd imagine those costs per, I mean, the cost per might be the same, who knows? And I think it's easier to position into more companies. Uh, but our ROI goes up significantly
yeah,
and faster. So we're really looking forward to that.
yeah. I mean, looking at these numbers, as long as the, ROI makes sense on your end, because I know you said it's a longer sales cycle, you get paid kind of
Yeah.
on the back end.
Yeah.
As long as the cash comes in, I guess, at the right time. I mean, to your point, you're only spending not too much money per month. So I'd bump that up if I were you, if you were seeing,
No, we fully and I think we just had a meeting with Dre the other day on how much can we spend without breaking shit.
mm,
So
yeah, you want to do it like obviously you want to taper it up a little. You don't just want to just throw a ton of cash at Facebook because then they're like, whoa, start placing stuff in crazy places and stuff. So
yeah.
what's the quality show rate? What's, all like kind of the back end metrics after like the marketing team has done their thing? What's all that?
Yeah, in hindsight, I'd probably do it a little different in terms of getting them to an appointment after lead. I think right now, and just again, we weren't expecting as many as we got and how fast and pipelines built up to where you have 150 in prospecting and you're just trying to get meetings and we figure it out from there. I think well, if you look at all of ours with Conversionly, 50% of them got to a meeting so far, but we're still working the other ones and we'll eventually get them there. We're under-resourced to handle all of the inflow that we got, so I had to kind of start adding people. But 50% of them to meeting, out of those, I'd say 50, another 50% to pipeline, and then from there, probably 10 or 15% to revenue. So, I mean, we're at like a 10%. I think if you look at just what we call close nurture, which is they said no, versus close one, which is they said yes, and you compare the two, we're at like a 10% close rate with you guys, which can be a whole lot better if we had the team behind it to support the inflow of leads that we were getting from you.
10%
So
close
we'll make,
rate from like the leads hitting the pipeline, then
yeah,
closing.
correct.
Okay.
And I'm only
So not
looking
just
at
like
like,
sales, not call close, but lead close.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's fair representation to look at, I get 100 leads from you and one of them close and say a 1% close. I'm still working 50 of them, right?
Yeah,
So
I
who
mean, it
knows?
depends on what timeline you're looking at, right?
Yeah, so I only look at close nurture versus like, close one kind of thing and, compare the two. That's where I figure out my percentage of close because that's a true representation that they either can be one or not one. Or so
Yeah.
we're at 10%. I'd like to be at like 25%. I think we will be at 25% the next time we talk.
I mean, yeah, so it's only been a handful of months. And how long, I mean, on average, how long is your sales cycle?
With the business credit stuff, it's 2 weeks. With the retirement stuff, it's 2 months.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be as long as it was. Uh, but just getting somebody to say yes and then getting all of their employees enrolled and all that stuff takes time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And then, so to your point, you just got to look at it at, I think, an average of a 3 month timeline. If you were to truly
Yeah.
look at like when a lead came in, like you could be now closing people from 2 months ago, this month.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you can
That's why
also close people from this month.
exactly. That's why I make it easy and I know anybody can take any data and fit whatever narrative they want. I've raised enough money at enough companies to know that. when I'm looking at a closing percentage, I just found the most accurate way to do it is close nurture versus close one, because there are deals that take 2 days, there are deals that take 6 months.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's really hard to, kind of guess or model something with such an extreme timeline. We talk to companies now that have 3 employees and they're going to be 10 at the end of the year, and that's when they want to do it. And those are, I don't think those are closed nurture. It's just they're going to wait. So that's why it's close nurture, close one. That's a final disposition, and let's compare the two and figure out what our close rate is.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, to your point, your sales process is a little different than most.
Yeah.
That's fine. When you were making a decision on figuring out like the direction to go, obviously you needed to make a decision on, okay, I want to do paid ads. And then so walk me through like what made you want to pursue paid ads? One, and then two, we'll talk about like what led you to choose Conversionly and like what other companies you were looking at. What was the difference? So,
Uh, well, that's a great question. I mean, 'cause the best thing I think for you is to say, "Hey, I eat my own dog food." That's the best thing for us as well. And so your ad did for you what it does for us. So I'm always like, whatever the algorithm is that knows that I'm looking for leads or whatever the case
yeah.
is, it works because your face is everywhere to the point where I feel like we're friends and I know you just because I see so many of your ads. But I see so many of them from everywhere, and yours is one that I clicked on, and I'm always like, if I clicked on it after seeing 1,000 of them, other people are going to click on it. And so ultimately, it was just, same as probably others. Your ad caught my attention on Facebook. I clicked on it. We clicked on a few others as well, and ultimately looked at you versus them, and we've even said yes to some of them just to pilot it out and see what works. And none of them worked, to be honest with you,
Oh,
except for
really?
your
So
stuff.
you went forward with us and then some other companies.
Yeah, we went forward with you, and then one other that was, I wouldn't say similar. It was more of an AI email to a very targeted audience that had buyer content,
Mm.
or they showed something somewhere online that showed some buying intent, and you'd hit them at the same time. We were trying, kind of tried everything. I never did Facebook ads. I never did Instagram ads. I never did any of that stuff. But it's different now than it was 20 years ago when we called 400 people a day.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that I was looking for it, and your ad caught my attention more than most. I clicked the button, and 5 seconds later, I had 2 or 3 missed calls, scheduled an appointment, and it wasn't a big investment compared to what we paid to everything else. And I was like, why wouldn't we at least try this
Right.
for the amount of asking? And it
Yeah.
worked. And now, like, how do we scale this?
Yeah. I think it's funny, we get on calls a lot of times with people who have tried the marketing thing, especially like with paid ads, with marketing agencies. And there's the barrier to entry to run ads or to help people run ads online very low. And a lot of times they get burned and they're like, okay, well, I've learned my lesson. Let me choose this other company. And then they try to, maybe keep the cost low, maybe not go with like I don't want to say like premium option, but like the option that they should go with because, like, in the back of their minds, like, I don't really know if this is going to work anyway. And then next thing you know, you've tried 5 companies and it's like nothing's worked. And so
Right.
it's, we get on the calls with people like that, and it's not rocket science. It's you try to figure out like what your unique mechanism is, put it together and package it up in an offer, and then have a marketing strategy behind that. I mean, obviously there's like techniques and strategies and best practices, right? And then like you put an ad in front of an audience that is the ideal fit for you. You target them, you put copy, creative, all of that's dialed in. Then that goes to a process like a funnel or a form or something like that. You collect their information, like you said. Next thing you know, you got people calling you because you've expressed intent. Then you push them further
Right.
down the sales pipeline, get them to show up. You kind of talk about your thing. That's your at bat, and then, if your thing's good and you have a good way to communicate the value, and it's easy, not easy for them to say yes, but as long as, they're qualified and they want what you have and they have the money, then they can close. And it's not
Yep.
rocket science. It's just, if done the right way, it is simple, but yet effective. But it's
Right.
really easy though to spend people's money on Facebook or on Instagram or like any ad platform
Yep.
and it not work.
But and I think with a lot of those firms, though, I mean, I have to imagine their churn is just ridiculous. Sure, I sign up 100 clients a month doing it the wrong way, but I lose 99 of them. Or if you're
Mhm.
doing it right, that 20 clients that you sign up a month that you service for the whole year is worth more and it's less stressful.
I'll tell
So,
you industry inside secret because we used to own a marketing agency that just did lead gen, right? Some people would kind of put us in like the marketing agency space. I don't really think that our company is kind of just in that area. I think our company's more of a business accelerator, a company that consulting company that helps you scale, like more in like not complex, but just a lot more than just the lead generation side of things. So the stat that I was going to give you, the insider knowledge, if you will, is that most marketing agencies, their clients stick around on average 90 days, 3 months. So that's why all of like the marketing agency, a lot of times they'll do like a setup fee and then like a 3 month contract because they know
yeah,
like, they're
yeah,
probably going to bounce. And that's why it's anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000. A lot of times, if they're just doing the lead generation, what happens, and maybe they'll tack on some like messages and stuff, but they'll just do the
yeah,
lead generation. And it's just like copy and paste with maybe like a virtual assistant. And you kind of look at the ad account once a week, and it's very low operation. So they're operating with like 90% margins. And, they're collecting a lot of cash, but they know it's like a churn and burn thing.
yeah,
That's why a lot of people, people we speak to, they're like, I've tried 5 agencies. It's like, well, normally what happens is they're just focusing on the lead generation, which is just the front end, right? So that's just like a sliver of the process. And I'm sure because you've been through our, system and our process, but the whole back end back here, that's the sales process, right? So this is just the lead gen, the marketing side. Then what happens after the lead is generated? That's where the real money is made because you got to
right.
get people interested, excited, get them to show up to the book an appointment, then get them to show up to the appointment, then close them. Like that's like 90% of it. And then you're paying someone $2,000 a month just to do the first 10%, thinking
Right.
that you're going to get the same result. So to your point, yeah, like their churn is pretty high, for those reasons.
It's frustrating. I mean, I certainly don't want to do any of it. Uh, I want to outsource it and feel good about it and go and do all the other stuff, which we found in you guys, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I know you kind of entered in a form right before we'd had this meeting. You said something about Range Rovers. What was that
No,
about? I
no,
caught that
I
caught
was
my attention. I was like, I gotta ask him about
I
this.
was I drove a Range Rover and I'm convinced that it's more expensive to fix it
Uh,
than to actually own it. And so I have a thing, and I hope they don't hear this and sue me for it, but I always say everything's fixable except for Range Rovers. That's my advice to anybody who's starting a company. Like you can fix anything, but you can't fix a Range Rover. That's the only thing's not fixable, so don't stress it.
me and my wife went to Texas after our daughter was born, and just to see like her great grandmother and everything. And then I don't know what was going on, maybe like spring break or something, but all of the rental cars were booked, all of like everything. So I had to get on Turo, and like on Turo, you have to get like a private vehicle. And
Yeah,
the only thing was like an Audi, like little sports car, and it was me, my wife, my mother-in-law, and my daughter. So I was like, I'm not getting a sports car. So I was like, I need like an SUV. And the only one that was there was one of those Mercedes G wagons, like the
yeah,
AX
yeah.
whatever, something another. I don't know if it was the one that I had, but bro, I felt every single bump and rock and whatever that we were going over on the roads, on, just like pulling into the driveway. I felt like I was on a safari, and it was crazy. And then like my daughter's like 3 months, 4 months, and we're like she's trying to
Uh,
sleep, and we're just going around. So yeah, there's some cars that are nice to look at. Don't get me wrong, that thing looked cool, but like
yeah.
Range Rovers, G Wagons, like yeah, I don't know, just not feasible. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple guy.
Well,
What
we have
go ahead.
you know, and I was just gonna say we have Teslas because like they're pretty fun. We live in an area where there's a lot of superchargers and stuff, so it's pretty convenient. But I understand why people get range anxiety and they don't make a whole lot of sense. But if you ever drive one of those, and I don't know if you can go back to a gas car, it's kind of hard.
I've heard, yeah, yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe someone watching this video in 5 years, like, yeah, I don't have gas cars anymore.
I get
There's a lot
sued
of
by
business owners who probably watching this video. We talked about 7,000 credits for business owners. You got the retirement plan. What would you feel like if someone is doing pretty good? Like if they're working with a company like ours, they're getting a bunch of leads coming in, they're closing people. Now things are looking pretty good in the business. They're starting to make some money. Now they're like, okay, Uncle Sam, hey, don't get me wrong. I love the the great roads. I love keeping things clean. The teachers, the fire department, like this great country. That's what we pay taxes for. But at the
Yep.
same time, you don't want to pay more than you need to, right? So like if someone's like starting to worry about, I'm making some good money now. I'm making some money, so how do I keep most of it? Where would they start?
Yep. So that's funny. I always joke my wife's in the Marine Corps, and so her salary is obviously covered by taxes and healthcare, and there's all kinds of things we get to take advantage of. In fact, I file state taxes in Florida, which means I don't file any, because when she joined the military, it was from Florida as an address, and she's like tried to change it, but she can't, and they're moving so often in the military that they have this like spouse of the military act, which is the spouse of the active duty military member gets to file state taxes wherever his or her spouse files. And my wife has been in Florida since she's got in, which means I don't pay any state taxes
That's nice.
because, yeah. So now I
Florida,
always joke
Texas,
around that I
Tennessee.
married the military. I hate paying taxes so much that I married into the military so that I can justify it. Uh, and so, and I also say friends don't let friends pay taxes. There's credits out there that are available to pretty much every business owner. They don't know them. And, their accountants not necessarily going out of their way to say, hey, you potentially qualify for all of these credits. So, there's 7,000 credits out there, approximately 7,000 credits available to U.S. businesses. Accountants don't know all of them. It's not their fault. It's impossible to keep up with. There's new ones being written every day, and business owners don't. And even if they do, they don't know how to if they apply to them. What the definitions of all of it and all of the nuances, and and how to actually do the work to then qualify for it, to determine the qualification and the calculations and stuff. So, that's why ultimately we have this software that, with a little bit of information can identify all of the potential ones. And then from the potential ones, we do a little bit more deep dive to determine if there are credits, if they apply to you, and how much it's worth. And we don't, I always say we guarantee results, meaning we don't get paid unless you do. And it's a percentage of whatever the credit is for doing all of the work. So it's pretty fun. We just talked to now that a lot of people filed extensions in 2023, and that they're having to file that in the next by October 15th. So we talked to a couple of companies even this week that were they were staring down the barrel of $1 million check that they were going to have to write because that was their tax liability. And we come in and say, hey, there's a $500,000 credits that you can turn in when you do your taxes. And now that check's half the size. And so they're happy to pay us, a percentage of it to save, $450,000. So there's credits out there available to a lot of small businesses. You work very hard for that money. They're available. Why not take advantage of them?
Yeah. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing how the new campaign works. That sounds like a fantastic offer. Very good. I
It's
think
it's
for marketing wise, like I don't see why any business wouldn't even at least click on that and go through and just see what happens.
yeah, it's and we're yeah, when we're doing blocking and tackling at this point because it's a very onesie twosie just to until we launched it. And we launched it about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, to figure out the entirety of the process. And I think we're sending like 10 emails a day, and we're getting 5 people to respond to it. It's like it's insane.
Hmm.
So I can't imagine what it's going to look like when we go big.
Turn ads on.
Because it is an easy positioning. It does work. And companies are seeing significant amount of money.
Love it. Cool. All right, Don. Hey, thanks for the conversation. I appreciate it. Looking forward maybe to doing one of these for the new offer in a couple months.
Definitely.
All right. We'll see you later, Don.
Appreciate it. Thank you.